Oh, Knack, the game that we all love to hate, me included, until I actually played the game. Now, if you've watched my impressions of when I started playing the game on Class vs. Crash, you already know that I have a pretty positive outcome from playing the game. Now, since that time, I've actually beaten the game, started a new quest, and my opinion has kind of changed with the game. It's not as great, let's say, as I originally thought. So I got Knack thanks to the PS Plus membership. It was one of the free games available in February. And so my expectations for it were very low. I had zero interest in this game, and the fact that it was free is pretty much the only reason I went and picked it up. Last month we had Rhyme and Knack. I had beaten Rhyme, and I was like, I'm tempted to try something new. Let's give Knack a go. When I started the game, I was actually surprised. The visuals were really good. The world setup was actually quite interesting. It starts off with like these humans fighting these goblins, and the goblins have like these militarized vehicles. I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. This is pretty cool. And then I started playing the game, and as Knack, you pretty much just jump, punch. It's a very basic 3D platformer. And I died. I died quite a bit in the first level, and at first I thought, oh, this must be why the game has bad reviews. This is quite frustrating. And then, a little bit more time went by, and I actually learned that you can't just go in and wail on all your enemies. There is a little bit of strategy to it where you have to dodge, jump, attack, and read your enemy's movements. And that, when I got into that really blew me away. Not blew me away necessarily, but that really impressed me. And I was like, oh, okay, there's a lot of depth to the combat. I love this. Like, I can really get behind this game. This is fun. And then, I discovered that there were secret chambers, and in the secret chambers, I was slowly building like these gadgets. You get these gadget parts, and then like the collector side of me just went like, ooh, I really like this game. The story was good. There's things to collect. The combat is deep, and the story was quite fun. It's pretty cutscene heavy. It reminds me almost of an Uncharted game for the way that it's laid out between gameplay and cutscene. Even the way the new chapters come up is very Uncharted-esque. So I was sold in this game. 6-8 hours in, I couldn't put the game down because I really want to know what happened next. And I really want to chase all these relics and these gadget parts to complete everything. So that's where I was when I shared my impressions of Knack on the podcast on Class vs. Crash. Now, 2 days ago, I've actually beaten the game. Actually, it was yesterday. I lied. I've completed the game, and I did not get all the relics and all the gadget parts, so I restarted a new file to complete that. And I realized I was still dying when I was playing on like New Game Plus. I was still dying in the first level, and that made me stop and think. I'm like, why am I dying on the first level after I completed the game? And I completed the game with like a fair bit of it wasn't overly difficult, and that's when it dawned on me that the skill level required from level 1-1 is the same skill level required at the end of the game, because yes, the enemies change, Knack gets bigger, the enemies get bigger, but at the end of the day, there are just two types of enemies. There's a melee enemy and a range enemy. And the way that you take out those enemies is pretty much the same strategy. And that's when I realized this game's depth was more shallow than I thought. The strategic component to it that you learned in the first chapter is the same strategic component you're going to be applying at the end of the game, and it doesn't really get progressively harder in that sense. So that made me kind of open my eyes to the game's combat mechanics aren't as deep as I thought. The level design is extremely linear, and I knew that 6 hours in, but that I didn't really mind it. It was kind of one of those mind-numbing games that you can just play, have fun, beat stuff up. Like, that's where the satisfaction is, beating stuff up and uncovering more of the story. I was playing it really to find out what happens next. But now that I'm kind of sitting back and criticizing and judging the game, it definitely falls short in the level design. There's practically none. The difficulty curve is non-existent. It's more of a flat line right across. Even in the final level, there's like a part where you have to jump like these spinning blades that go back and forth, like a very, very basic element in 3D platforming. I'm like, really? This is here? That you think this is going to kill me? So that kind of takes the game back a notch. And then the collectibles, there were 2 devices I failed to build. and I uncovered a ton of relics, which are these gems you have to collect. And I try to find ways to harvest them, and I learned that there is no way. You just have to keep playing the game over and over on a loop until you get them all. And that really ruined the collector experience for me, because I thought the game would allow you to have most things by the first playthrough, but that's not the case. It seems like the game wants you to play it 5 to 6 times to get everything. Well, by the time you've unlocked one of the collectibles, you don't want to play this game anymore because you've sunk so much time into it that it's no longer rewarding. So there goes that piece of fun, if you will. So yeah, overall Knack has just went from like a great game and slid a little bit more into the good side of things. Like even when I was playing it on the second time, I was on autopilot, and it's kind of fun. I think it might be fun as a speedrun style game, but I'm not really into that. So Knack, you had potential and you dropped it. Like it has all the elements you need for a good game. It's just not fleshed out. I feel I don't know what's, I'm not an expert to tell you what you need for the game. The level design could go a long way for sure. The combat, I guess those are the two things. The level design and the combat mechanics are what really need to get looked at and improved on. And I haven't tried the sequel yet, so there is Knack 2, and I'm really looking forward to see if they've addressed those two issues. But you know what? For Knack 1, is it good? Honestly, if you're looking for just like a fun, I don't know, let's say 6 to 7 hour experience, and you're okay with the cartoony style, I would recommend it. It's not a bad game. It's not a bad game at all. I wouldn't even say it's mediocre. There is some highlights. The story's fun. The characters are engaging. I actually really enjoy Knack. I like the idea behind him being a pile of pieces that, you can collect more and more relics and grow. That aspect is actually well done, and it's very fun. It's not as bad as the mainstream gaming. Is there such thing as a mainstream gaming media? I feel there is. It's not as bad as they make it out to be. When they make fun of Knack, they make it really sounds like it's a terrible, unplayable game, but I've played far worse games, and Knack is not one of those. Knack is a solid 7 on my scale of 0 to 10. It was an enjoyable experience. And then the story itself, even the story fell a little short towards the end. The villains just kind of got tossed aside for what seemed like sake of closure. The last level wasn't really explained as to why things were happening or why Knack should really care, other than, is this a spoiler? I don't know. Okay, I'm going to keep it spoiler free. The end is basically stop the thing because it's bad. And it's like, okay, I guess. But you were building up to something so much better in such an exciting world. Why can't I learn more about why this thing is bad? Why does it exist? Why is it doing what it's doing? I feel that all those questions were left unanswered. So Knack, I will play Knack 2. I'm actually more interested in the Knack universe now. Like I said, I'm really fascinated by the world. It's a very fun world to play in. And I really hope that the sequel, and those of you I know who are playing the sequel are either going like, oh, Jay, you don't know what you're getting into, or you're like, yeah, play it. It's much better. I've actually heard the latter from a few friends where they said, yeah, Knack 2 is much better. So I am looking forward to see what they did there. So Knack, You're off my blacklist. You're a good game, and I would recommend you to anyone. And honestly, though, here's who I would not recommend to. It doesn't really know who its audience is. I tried to give the game to my son, and he could not play it very well. Like that difficulty line that I mentioned, it's still, I feel, higher than a noob gamer or a newcomer. And even my son's not that new. He's fairly experienced. But it's underachieving. It's underwhelming for a veteran player, so it doesn't quite know what the target audience is. It is better than Skylanders, though. I'll give you that. Knack is better than Skylanders, in terms of platforming and fun mechanics. Oh my god, so much better. So that's my thoughts on Knack. What did you guys think? Did you guys play the game? Did you hate it as much as everyone else? Did you like it? Did you find anything surprising? Please let me know in the comments below. Give this video a like and subscribe. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers, hopefully before E3. That's about a few months away. I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, keep it classy.